our
Wait,
friends
time
of
out. I'm
the
not ready
acre.
to start yet.
Wait,
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 stop.
wait, where is she? Where'd she
Ronnie,
go?
did you disappear me?
You guys,
Oh,
where is
are
everybody?
you
No,
gonna,
we're gonna be in and out. So what?
okay, are you gonna introduce Ronnie?
All right, on already?
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna
my
introduce
question.
him. Yes,
Okay,
I
Oh,
was ready to do it.
I was all
Okay,
ready. Go ahead. Never mind.
I want
Forget
to
me.
introduce everybody. I want to introduce Ron Mahany to our little podcast here. Ron is a longtime Sunshine Acres person. Ron, did you go to? Let me ask you a question.
no,
Were
I'm
you a
not that old. I
camper?
didn't go to Commack.
That's not what I was going to ask
Okay,
you. I
good
know you're
game,
not that
Charlie.
old.
Did
I
I go
wanted to know
there?
if you were. I was thinking about this before. Were you a camper, like a not a teen, but even before that, a camper, the 9 to 12
Absolutely.
or 8 to 12?
Actually, I snuck in at, it used to be 8 to 12 years old.
I
And
told
because
you, Charlie.
my sister was 8, then my cousin Laurie was 8, they didn't want them to go alone. They sent me when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
They,
See, I was telling Lori last week. Um, I was introduced to Sunshine Acres. I was 9, and my siblings were older, and but they thought I was immature at 9 to go there. So I didn't go until the next year until the girls scoped it out for me.
yeah. No, I went at 7.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's young.
Yeah.
Even 8. I remember being a counsel, and I always think of the 8-year-olds. That's young. I used to think that, in the back of my mind, I was thinking that's a big difference between 8 and 9.
Right. Well, as an adult and a mom and a teacher, I'm like 8 years old. They were like babies.
I know you think about it now, like I was
Yeah.
7
7. Yeah.
when I went. Yeah.
That's
And
crazy. That's
back
so
then it was
crazy.
back then it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I
Right.
went for 2
Yeah.
weeks. You
Well,
know?
I went for 10 days. I don't think it was 2 weeks. I don't remember
No,
actually.
they cut it down after a while to 10 days.
Yeah, that
My
makes sense.
my first nickname there was Turtle.
Why?
Why is
I was
that?
in the creek. I was in the creek the whole time. I just, I grew up in the streets of Brooklyn. I didn't know what a creek
Yeah.
was,
Right.
So I just loved being down there. So they
Yeah,
called
that's
me
so
Turtle.
funny.
Yeah, I was
So
down.
what year was your first year?
69.
Wow.
69?
So-
Yes.
Okay, so that was
But
close to
wait, why do
Commack.
you say it like that?
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long. So I'm one of the few people
Yeah.
who remember the old dining hall.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because that was 72, I'm going to
Yes,
say.
no,
I thought I
71,
remember
I think
the.
the lodge put up. Yep.
So what
Yeah.
was the
Okay.
old dining hall?
It was an old dining hall that we used. It was an old wooden building where we ate all our meals.
But without the lodge, right?
Yeah, without the lodge.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, and I tell you what,
And the gym, too, right?
then we
Without the
did
gym?
no gym. And I remember once we were digging up maybe a septic or something. And me and Mike Keller were digging up a septic, and we hit some cement, and we realized it was the old sidewalk for the old dining hall.
Wow.
Yeah, and like
Wow.
nobody could remember that but me and him.
Huh. That's
So,
wild.
yeah.
That's
We
wild.
used to go into the old dining hall for meals singing Onwards Christian Soldiers. That was somehow something we used to do. And I was like, okay, well, this is what we sing going in. So yeah, it used to be an
Oh,
old dining hall.
wow.
And then while they were building it, the new lodge, my Aunt Virginia, who was a church rep,
Mhm.
remember the
That's
church
right.
reps played a real pivotal role back then.
They did.
Got kids
Yes.
up there, and Joan, Joan McKeever, Joan Ellis
Mhm.
would get them
Yep.
all together and get everybody up there. We went up to visit while that thing was just a shell. And I was
Wow.
Wow.
amazed, the lodge. It was just a stick building at the time. So I still have that memory of walking through that building when it was nothing but just, 2x4s.
And how old were you then?
Wow.
Probably like 10 or 11. I don't remember exactly why we were up there. My you know what it is? My aunts used to own property up in Kerhonkson, where I eventually moved to.
Oh,
And we
wow.
were
Oh,
up
wow.
visiting them So we went over to the camp to visit.
Huh.
What
So
that who's that aunt? Do you
no, no,
did you
she
have
no, no,
a same
my
cousin?
aunt Babe. It was actually my Aunt Virginia's aunt
Oh,
that would own property in Carhonkson of all places. Who ever heard of Carhonkson? Then I
Yeah.
ended up living there for
wow.
40 something years, you know? So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
69 is my first year, 7 years old. And then I went every year, 8, 9, 10,
Right.
11. 12 years old, I got appendicitis. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. My father had died. I got sick. I got appendicitis. No, what was it? No, I got appendicitis. My dad was alive. I couldn't go. So I missed my last summer. I was devastated.
Of
It was the
course.
last summer. Now
Wow.
remember, there's no CIT program now.
Right. Right.
You
At
know,
that
there's no
Right,
CIT
right.
program. So I'm like, I just missed my last summer at camp.
point.
So
Right.
that year, that December, my father died. And so when I came around the next summer, I turned 13 in May, and God bless her, Joan McKeever let me go in as 13 years old. Let
Oh,
me go to camp. So I went when I was 1 year too young, and I went when I was 1 year too old to
huh.
camp.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that year I won best camper. So you remember when they used to do best camper? We always
Oh,
did that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, my sister won like 4 years in a row.
Of course, Chrissy. Of
Yeah.
course she did.
Yeah, I used to say people that her favorite color was Bible black. It's such a goody two shoes. So,
She
but
was the goody two shoe.
she deserved it every year. You
She
know,
did.
she did. She deserved it every year. She was. I don't make me cry, but you know, we had. We weren't so close, and then in our older years, we got close, and she's the best Christian I knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the story. And then, so then I'm 13. I go to camp. I remember no CIT program. And
Mhm.
then when I'm
Right.
15, they start the CIT program.
Right.
So I don't know whose idea that was, but that was the best thing that ever happened. Because
Huh.
Yeah.
we could groom the kids that we wanted to come back as JCs
Exactly.
and counselors. So the first year, that was 77. The first year they had CIT program. They had a something to shoot for. If you got picked, they kept a slot open in the first session for one
Right.
boy and one girl to be a junior counselor.
Oh wow.
That's right.
So
Yep.
it was me and I believe it was Gail Henderson.
No,
Mm.
Gail's my age.
I'm telling you, that's what I thought. But remember, JCs could be younger back then. Is she that
Mhm.
young?
Well, she would have been 2 years younger. So if you were 15, she was
Yeah, then it
13.
couldn't have been her. Maybe I just remember her getting picked. But I got to stay a
That's
session.
awesome.
And then they didn't have another JC for the second session. So I got to stay another
You
session.
did.
So it was great.
Wow.
I did a half a summer when I was 15 years old.
And what year was that? 15.
77.
77.
I
Okay.
think it was 77 or 76. 76. They signed me up for 2 sessions and kept me for the whole summer. I worked 3 sessions without a day off
Wow.
because JCs didn't get days off.
Right.
And finally, my sister said, I rode the buses. And my sister said, he's not coming back. And they said, what? He said, he hasn't had a day off. You guys won't give him a day off. He's not coming back. She never told me this till later. Isn't this something?
Oh wow.
So she
That's
fought to
funny.
get me a day off. Actually, they
Aw.
gave me 2 days off because I was, you know,
Yeah,
16.
you're
It's a
exhausted.
lot.
I
That's
was
a lot.
exhausted.
Yeah.
I was
It's a lot for
exhausted.
that age. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the next year, Gary Schmidt was program director. I don't know if you remember him.
Hmm.
And so I was too young to be a counselor. So I was 17. I was too young to be a counselor. So I was assistant program director at 17 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a great summer. That was a good summer. So after that, it was lifeguard. I don't know. What was I when you guys were there? Lifeguard?
Lifeguard.
Yeah. I think so.
Lifeguard. I do
I think
remember.
when I was
I
Then-
remember
Yeah.
you being in the cabin one time for a CIT week.
Yeah, I was activities director. And then like one of my best memories was maybe Young Teen Week. we had to send a counselor home, and Hugh Kirkland was program director, and he said, you need to go in a cabin. And I was mad. Last week of the summer, I wasn't looking to be in a cabin full time, the whole thing. Probably the
Right.
best week, probably the best week of my summer life ever there.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm. I had a very, so he rearranges the cabins so I get all the tough kids.
Of course.
Now you remember Young Teen Week was anybody.
Right. Right.
CIT Week was we were picking out the best.
Yeah.
So we never knew who we were
Right.
going to get for Young Teen Week, or if we knew they were going to be a problem.
Right.
And
Right.
I had some. I still remember half of them. I had some of the toughest kids I've ever had, and totally fell in love with them.
Now, was that the session that I hurt my ankle? And
Yes.
we were walking
And-
to the falls.
And we carried you.
Yeah, on the
We-
cot from the
Yep.
nurse's office.
Yep. We carried you, and then that was. I can remember. Oh my gosh, I remember this. I remember saying to them, "Look, Miss Laurie, clumsy as she is," I said, "She really wants to go in. I mean, we have this. What's it called? The thing you carry people on that.
It was a cot thing, like a stretcher.
It was like a
stretcher.
stretcher.
We
It
had
was
a
a stretcher
stretcher.
cot.
That's what it was.
I said, it's a 2-mile hike in.
Yeah.
I said, what do you think? And the guy said there was not a kid in that cabin that was against it. They were like, we'll carry her in.
Well,
We'll
I
carry
remember
it.
that specifically
Yep.
because I was one of the ones we used to share each
Yep.
corner.
We
Yeah.
took turns,
Everyone,
yep.
everyone had a corner for like 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
It's
so
a good. It's a good thing you were so skinny.
Oh, good thing then. Yeah.
Yeah. So we would have had a hard time.
That's
It's so
funny.
easy. I could have done it by myself,
Oh,
but
please.
I don't
I
want to.
Yeah,
remember
sure.
I went into the woods the next day and I cut down a cedar tree and I cut
A
sections
piece for each one.
for each
Yes,
kid. And I wrote a Bible verse and their
I
name on it.
remember that.
I still have
Ah.
one. I kept one.
Wow.
I still have one.
I still have mine.
You do?
No, I'm only kidding. but I do remember it.
Well,
So,
all right
Well,
then.
here, that's one of those great things that we had in the summertime when we it was Hugh Kirkland who decided we're gonna take an overnight.
Yeah.
Who takes 60 city kids into the woods overnight with no way to get back? It was insane to think about it. I can remember once we went in and I was carrying Shauna.
Really?
She was leading. I was in the back with Martha. I had Shauna on my back. We got about a mile in Casey was exhausted.
Of course.
And I picked him up and I carried Casey and Shauna the rest of the way in. I mean, those are things you don't forget.
Right.
We got there one night. I don't know if it's that night. We start cooking and it pours.
Oh, no.
And everybody, I don't remember which time it was. It finally stops raining. Everybody changes their clothes because they have a change of clothes.
Right.
Poured again. Everybody was in wet clothes for the rest of the time. You didn't hear one kid complain.
No.
They loved it. They loved it. So I
That's
think
wild.
I think the campouts are probably one of the highlights of taking these city kids, and they don't want anything about do with that, and take them out in a place where they're unfamiliar, where they're totally trusting their counselors.
Right.
Great
Yeah.
opportunities on those nights to share with the kids. Probably you asked me to think about things. Probably my best memory was a camp out. I had so I'll go over. So then I ended up being lifeguard, counselor. 1989, I'm getting married. I was program director. And that was the first year Hugh wasn't there.
But you were living there at the time, right? Your
So
math-
yes, so I graduated from a community college in December of '84, and my mom was after me to get a job. I started talking to Dave Kleinersmith. They were overwhelmed. And you remember now, Charlie, you probably did. We were taking buses up there on weekends,
Right.
3 seasons
Yes.
program, to do dishes
Right.
and help
Right.
out. And they were getting some
That's
local
right.
kids to help out. But basically, they wanted, Sunshine Acres guys. Now, that's a great idea on Dave's part. Let's get these guys in the summer to come up because they're going to come back next summer then.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we would go up in the summer. I can remember me and Willie would Christmas Day, we'd have at home. Next day we were on the bus.
Mm,
They had a group from the day after Christmas till after New Year's.
wow.
And we would work that whole group. So we were doing that. And then in 85, the board asked me to come along as assistant director. So in March, I can tell you the date, March 15th, 1985, I moved up full time.
Aw,
Wow.
Yeah. And I was there till October of 89.
okay.
And then
89, right.
and then I missed a decade.
Right.
And then in the spring of 2000, Judy Shank, remember her?
Yeah.
Was
Mhm.
interim
Yeah.
director. She saw me in a local supermarket and said, "We're not having summer." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "We don't have a program director. We don't have staff. We're about to write everybody and tell them we're not going to have summer." And she said, "Would you consider coming back?"
Wow.
And so my wife at the time, Jennifer, and I took our kids. Now at that point, let me think of how many kids I had at that point. I think I had 3 at that point. 4. We had 4. We had a baby. We went up to camp and took a walk and prayed. And one of the kids found $20 in the middle of the woods. I tell you, in the middle of the woods, there was $20 lying on the floor. And I said, "Well, that's a sign from
That's
God.
funny.
We should come back." So we came back in the summer of 2000.
I remember that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and we were there for 3 summers, and we had a great time. So it's look who that is.
Who's that?
How did he
Oh,
get
wow.
on there?
Where'd he go?
What's that face? It's not Winter.
No, winter I would have a full beard actually.
I just was
No.
talking about you.
Oh, you were? Oh, my ears must have been ringing.
Yeah,
I got
must
this.
have been.
I got this magic link, and I just clicked on it, and here I am.
Casey, I have not seen you since you were a little bitty 2 or 3-year-old.
Yeah,
You
no,
were
it's wild. And
I know you were the cutest little thing, and you didn't have as much hair then as you have now. I gotta
Oh.
say,
well, I was a blonde little boy.
I know,
Mhm.
I
It's
know.
crazy. I do my own hair too, in case you
Or
wanted
do
to know.
you? Okay, I do my own too.
I gotta tell you, one of the best memories was when Mike Kelleher came back as director. We ran a retreat in the winter of a hockey tournament, and me and Casey's dad, Hugh, and Mike, and my brother and Bobby Cueto got to play this weekend of hockey against church groups and guys that came up. So these kids came up, not all of them from church.
Hmm.
We had a guest speaker, so they got to hear the gospel, and we had this whole hockey tournament that went on. And
What year was
Mm.
that?
I don't remember what summer that came up, but I do have something to show you guys though. I pulled this out.
Let me say.
No.
Ah!
This is the Kirkland Cup, Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. I love
Casey
it.
and
And I
I were
don't know-
wondering what happened to that because when they redid the
Yeah, a friend of mine brought
the
it.
the
A
lodge, we
friend
were
of
like,
mine
what
left
happened to
this
that?
at my doorstep one day.
No way. You just came home and there it was.
That's exactly what happened. So
Oh my gosh, I
so
love
funny.
that.
That's
That-
funny.
I'm not sure, but these 4 have somebody's name on it. I polished these only.
Is that
Mahany.
you keep that shine so you can see the gleam when you walk by, especially as you get older, I would
It
imagine.
reflects
Yeah,
off
yeah.
your
I gotta convince my kids. Yeah, Dad used to play for real. I could play at one point, but I don't know if you guys remember.
So you all know
you-
my old man, and he spies on the website, on the Acres website, and he saw our picture from the work weekend, and he didn't even recognize you, Ron, for a second. He was like, "Who is that? Who is that young stud right there?"
Yeah, that's what it was. I still look so good. He didn't think I was that old, right?
It just was funny, and he looks really old too.
Thanks.
Was that Charlie Barrett who didn't recognize
his
him?
father.
Who didn't recognize him?
No, I did when he saw the pictures on the internet.
But
Oh,
who
oh,
didn't?
oh.
He didn't recognize Ronnie.
He didn't recognize Ronnie. No, immediately.
That's funny.
You know,
How was your
Oh,
dad?
oh, the picture that
you
I
posted.
posted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
my old man, he goes on his wife's account and he spies on everything that's going on at the acres. He'd be a good one to get on here. Actually.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we need him to get
Yeah,
on there. How is he doing?
He's awesome. He's a guitar maker. So he looks kind of like, if you've ever seen Pinocchio, he kind of looks like Geppetto from Pinocchio.
Really?
Yeah. Really, really good dude, though. He's one of my best friends. We hang out pretty regularly. We watch tons of Rangers games together. It's a good time.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Right.
Good for him.
You get older, you got to cherish those moments, Like when we were all out at the acres, it was a special time, and we got to like, I spent like up until 16, I was there every summer. And all three of you were there when my parents were there and when I was born. And that's kind of,
I gotta tell you guys, I
Absolutely.
have probably 2,000 slides from the 80s. Because
you really?
Charlie, your
Wow.
family was really big helping with this. Remember when we did the Christmas party
Yes.
I remember Christmas party.
in the city, right? And I
Yeah.
did the slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have those slides.
No way.
still.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
You need to put something together.
I talked to Mike at one point about transferring them over to a DVD or a CD or something.
I was going to say,
that's
he's the guy.
yeah, that's what I got to do. I think we got to transfer them over because I got pictures of, everybody. I mean, it's trying to. So the Christmas party was huge too.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah, so that was something that happened when I was there full time. We did the Christmas party. We did the winter retreat
Yeah.
for the teens.
Mhm.
That was huge. How many of those kids get to go away in the wintertime?
Exactly.
That we
Right.
had a good
Yeah,
time with that. And probably when I was there full time, I would write letters. I probably wrote one year 300 letters to campers. That was
Oh,
one
I
of my
love that.
to
Wow.
reach out to the campers. And I just kept in touch
That's
with all of them.
amazing.
So, you had that continuity, and that's how those kids, you remember, we had over 400 kids a summer.
Right.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if we go back to that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's the goal. Let's get these kids back to camp and give them the gospel.
Well, and so much of it is kids who have nothing, right? It's like for me,
Right.
like Sunshine Acres is not a competition for bigger camps with kids who have money, right? Like it's more about kids. I remember being a kid and when I was a little older, and kids were coming into the city and they never seen a squirrel before.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like a kid seeing a squirrel for the first time, or like getting assaulted by bugs for the first time.
It's true because one of my favorite things was riding the buses.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
rode the buses for years. And then the
I
way
remember.
down, when they leave
Mhm.
camp, they're
Yeah.
bawling.
Right.
Yeah.
They're bawling that they're leaving camp. We had kids who would disappear before the buses left, and we'd have to find them. We'd hold the buses because we had to find these kids. They weren't about to go home. So, and then on the ride up, all the kids are quiet. And they say, how much longer? And it doesn't matter where we were, I'd say 5 minutes.
Yeah, just a little longer.
Yeah. After they ask about 20 times, they realize it's not going to be 5 minutes. But they get there, they get on the hill. They're all quiet. And what a difference
Yeah.
in 10
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
When we're getting ready to leave, everybody's standing by the buses.
Sobbing.
So-
Remember the step? We would all run down to the roadway and block the buses.
That's right.
I
That's
have-
right.
I have pictures of that. I have pictures of staff in the lane blocking the buses. I'll have,
Yeah,
to,
you-
Wow.
I'll have to get on that.
Yeah.
Well, what I would encourage you to chat with Mike Kelleher about.
Yeah.
This is what he does.
I have.
He's like
I have.
he's like a
he
stud
told
when
me,
it comes to
"Fly
pictures.
down, we'll get them all on CD. It might happen.
Yeah.
Well,
It might happen. And
I
then
mean, that'd be great.
we'll see you all. I have pictures of Casey and Shauna that I took myself when they're tiny little Tiny little kids. I'm gonna tell a story about Casey.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I was about to say
Casey,
I want to hear Ron's best story about Casey and Lori, but not about me.
I got 2 stories about Casey. So I had the apartment, and I would give up the apartment for them to move in the summer.
Mhm.
And then eventually they moved into the nurses' quarters. And one year I had kittens. I had like 4 kittens. All of a sudden I hear these kittens squealing. I had this big mayonnaise jar that I used for Scrabble letters. And Casey somehow had gotten 4 kittens into the jar.
I think you told me about that when we were kicking
Yeah,
it.
they all survived.
Oh my
And
god.
then they went, they went back up to Massachusetts. I had a hamster, right? So he goes to his preschool, whatever, and his mother walks in, and they have all these names on the board: Fluffy, Brownie, Uncle Ronnie, blah blah blah. They were naming the hamster.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Casey wanted Uncle Ronnie. I didn't get the votes though.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Well, you can't dance at everyone's wedding, you know.
you can't.
It was an interesting thing to grow up in, because
Oh, I bet.
there was like Charlie Ciarfello, like was only there. We only overlapped when you worked a couple times, but for me as a kid, it felt like every summer, even if it was just a quick visit and not working there. And it's like the perspective as a staff kid was a lot different, And then I also went as a camper too, which when we were there, I just sat in the gym for like an hour or an hour and a half and just breathed. And I was, all the stuff that popped up about everything in different walks of life was a lot. And when you walk through the camp, it's fixable. It is pretty dilapidated, and everything except the big house it's fixable, it's correctable. And so it's I was thinking about, because I never was experienced the new cabins, and so we were kind of ripping around the new cabins, and I just kept thinking about how the cabins are facing each other now, and it's like we used to do call and responses all the time, and I could only imagine doing call and responses across the field.
Yeah. Does everybody know what he means? This is cabin number 5, calling cabin, and streaming back.
So
We were there, so I was there the first year we used the new cabins.
Yes.
That was
And
what, like 2001 or something?
Yeah.
2000, yeah, yep. That year we worked. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. Those cabins are
They're
beautiful. Still in good shape.
They look brand new.
They still could be used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was really blessed when Mike Keller went back up, because my younger kids have to visit, where the older kids still remember a little bit is there. Probably,
Right.
Yes.
probably my best memory is my son James and I on a camp out night. Joel Raby, does anybody remember the name Joel Raby? He was a counselor. It's the teen week, and one of his kids, so I don't know if you know, like, I could walk in the woods and be quiet, and I'm teaching James to be quiet. We walk up, and we're about 10 feet away, and this one kid's telling a horror story about this kid getting lost in the woods with his parents. And so the father probably goes back 20 years later, he goes back and he hears this voice, "Daddy, help me." He's like, "Billy?" He's like, "Daddy, help me." And he's got them all right into it, right? And they're all looking. And his father's all worried. He's looking around. He's like, "Billy, where are you, Billy? Daddy, help me." I look at James, 9 years old. I said, "Yell out, Daddy, help me." And James goes, "Daddy, help me." And these kids took off in the woods. They just
See you
took
later,
off.
bye.
It was probably my best memory. So to be able to go back there with my kids,
Yeah.
and we still go up. So every once in a while, go up and we'll take a hike. We'll walk through the woods.
That's great.
Yeah.
Next
It's
time, did you notice like the all the tracks out there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of tracks. Like the trails, some of the trails in like especially up at the archery range and the fire pit, they need to be totally rebuilt.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of work to be done, but like you said, Casey, it's doable.
It's a big facelift.
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
You get enough people, anything's doable.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what about Lori? What do you think? I don't know any.
Hey now.
Don't worry. The
You want to know? You want to
You're-
know the thing I
yeah.
think about Lori? wherever she was just brought joy and fun and excitement. And you just felt like this is somebody you want to be in her presence.
Enthusiasm.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah. I don't have one
Well,
bad,
I
I don't have one story to tell that would be disparaging in any way whatsoever.
Yay
How's
me.
that?
well, I told the last time. I remember specifically her and my sister Marie were on a team together, and they were the worst team. They lost everything, and they had so much fun losing. They would high five
They didn't care,
each
right?
other.
They didn't care at all.
They
right?
are high fiving each other because they lost, and they were just giggling, and it was like, what is wrong with these two?
Well, I think we got to a point where we knew we could never catch up. So it was like, who cares? We're just gonna laugh
Exactly.
and make fun.
Okay, what about the team
Exactly.
week, the CIT and team week teams where Hugh would come up with these 4 words with 4 syllables each? That would be what you'd have to make your name out of, or
Yeah.
or it had to be all start with the
Oh
letter
yeah,
D.
yeah.
You know, I forgot what we were, the Dapper Ducks one year, or
Yes,
something like
we
that.
did.
you know?
Yeah.
All
And
these,
we were doing poster board and we had to make a big poster.
yeah, you had to be a
Yeah.
germ. One year you had to be a germ. You know, stuff like that. That we just totally enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Totally got into
It was really
you
fun.
know?
That kind of stuff was fun. And, it's funny, like thinking about my father and his energy back then, like the energy that he put out to the. Now he's like,
Oh yeah,
now he's like old and doesn't have that energy anymore.
Yeah.
His mind is still super sharp, but I could not picture him currently dancing and singing in front of the flagpole.
yeah.
I don't
But-
know if you
Right.
can.
however,
Wait.
I do like thinking about that.
Oh yeah, he was doing it all. I can remember. Do you remember we used to do things in the morning where I would say, go up to your cabin, put your counselor in your bed, and bring them down here. And the kids would love it, love it. Anything,
Yeah.
anything to do stuff like that. But
Right.
It's funny.
probably probably the most heartbreaking thing was the last night campfires.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think they were you asked me when
Yes.
did I feel God? Those last night campfires. I can remember distinctly my sister speaking at the last night campfires. I did dozens of them. The one I remember most is my sister speaking,
Yeah.
Yes.
because her heart was totally did not want these kids to leave without knowing they were loved.
exactly.
Mm.
And that was what it was all about. Those 10 days, those 7 days was don't let them leave without them feeling that like they're loved. So
And it was always achieved, and that campfire was when you could get the receipts for that almost.
Mhm.
mhm.
I think that's the kind of stuff that kids
Yeah.
remember.
Those
No, it's-
kids from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s aren't kids anymore.
Right, I know.
That's so
Yeah.
mind-boggling.
I mean,
to
that's
Yeah.
who we have to reach out to.
Yeah.
That's who we have to find. I kept the years 2000, 2001, 2002. That was, Mike Kelleher came up with a group before 2000 summer and fixed up the camp. They did a whole lot of work. They drove down the road, came back, and Josh Kelleher stayed and worked for me the next 3
I
summers.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's things like that you just like these legacies that are still going on. And now it's our time to hand it off and hope that somebody else, comes alongside and takes over.
fix it up. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the job now, is to make sure this doesn't die. So
That's right.
I have a funny Hugh and Martha story. It was a Valentine's Day weekend, and my family was up working the winter retreat, Valentine's Day weekend. And Hugh comes into the kitchen. We're all in the kitchen doing breakfast stuff, and Martha's in there. And I don't know if she had any kids yet, or maybe she was pregnant. And Hugh said, "Martha, I have your Valentine present." And she's like, "Well, where is it? Let me see it." And he's wearing his big overalls. Remember those
He
overalls?
loved those
the old-
overalls. Yeah.
yes,
Because he's wearing those. And she's like,
Oh yeah.
"Where is it?" And he goes, "You got to find it. I'm not going to tell you. It's somewhere right here." And he's going like this on his body. "It's somewhere right here." It was a package of M&Ms that he had stuck in his underwear. And Martha's like, I am not digging through your drawers. So she's like, just give them to me. Well, it was like the thing of the weekend then. He just wouldn't give them to her. She had to go dig for him. It was very
That's
funny.
so funny.
It's my dad would never do that now. His mind is not wired like it's just, when you mature, things change, I think that if the camp is going to be successful, like for me, it seems that we need to really focus on dialing in successful retreats that bring money in, because it seems like a lot of it is a money thing. Like it's going to cost a lot of money to tear down that big house.
I reached out to a church absolutely this week on Long Island. I don't want to say the name yet, but they were very excited about partnering with the Acres and coming back in, and that's good because it's a good big church.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
that's what you need. You need churches to get involved again because remember when I went back in 2000. Remember how it used to work when we were all younger? The churches sent kids, but they also sent money. So we go back in 2000, and there's a decline starting already. And I reached out to church reps, and all they said was, "We don't have the kids." The churches didn't have the kids to send anymore. So we had to find a different way to reach out to kids at that point. We did it. So the number of campers, I mean, I can remember we only had like 2 boys cabins and 3 girls cabins in 2002 because we didn't have enough campers. I had the staff. I mean, Jeff Andrews was camp director 2001, 2002. He did a great job of getting quality people in. Didn't have the kids.
Wow.
So because the churches were dying, so you had to find a different way for churches to reach out and send kids up. I mean, one of the counselors said, "How many 8 to 12-year-olds are there in New York City?"
Right.
Right. The kids are there. There's kids now who need a place to go. We got to give them a place. We got to fix the place up and then find the funds that they can come and getting churches back to the 3 Seasons program.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to be the tremendous help to it. So you get churches involved, you get kids, and I don't know if you guys remember, like the 3rd session was for kids who could pay a lot.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah. The 3rd session.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The 3rd session was a lot of kids who could actually pay could come at the 3rd session. The others were kids like me. My parents couldn't afford to send me to camp. So I came up through the church.
Right.
Yeah, I always went to, I think, the 1st session.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember because it was always on my birthday.
Oh, really? You celebrate your birthday at camp?
All the time. My birthday is on the 14th, and now I celebrate my birthday at Camp of the Woods mostly.
So it's coming up.
Yeah.
Charlie,
I'm going Saturday.
Charlie, you look exactly the same as when you were in your 20s. I don't know.
Right.
You have the same baby face. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Face, he says.
I mean, I would say the same thing. It's wild. I need to jump off. I need to eat some food and I need to finish my evening. But I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm on board. I'm all the way on board. So
yay!
I want to help with.
Casey's coming up to the work weekend. Most likely, in August.
I'm like 90% sure, and definitely in the fall.
Is it on August 18th? So we can celebrate his birthday?
Well, it's maybe there's but probably it's not likely because I have plans that weekend. But but maybe because there's a retreat that weekend actually. So we'll see. Never say never. But I'm all in for working retreats and doing work weekends and ideas and I don't know. Did you get a chance to go over that policy and procedure manual, Charlie?
For the summer program or the regular, just in general?
The one that I sent you.
I don't remember the one you sent me, but we did put together a policy manual for just generally going to the camp, what's expected, this and that. It's already gone through the board, and we're in the midst of signing it ourselves.
Excellent. Love that.
So if that's but as far as summer program, we haven't gotten to anything summer program, yet, because
Well,
it's,
that's
but
on the
yeah,
back burner, yeah.
yes,
Currently, yeah, that's on the
absolutely,
back burner, yeah. So like focusing on
absolutely,
the retreats, and a summer, a
yes,
weekend full of retreats, that's a successful summer. And so
Yeah.
if we could pull
right,
that
right,
off, I
right,
think it would be great. So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I really appreciate inviting me on, and it's awesome to see y'all. And Lori,
Yeah.
it's awesome to like meet as an
All right,
adult.
Case.
I know. Please tell your dad we said hi.
Yeah, we'll talk more,
All
bro.
right, later. Much
All right,
love.
see you later, bud. Bye.
God bless.
Bye. You didn't tell me he was coming on, Charlie.
Ha ha.
Me
That was a
neither.
big surprise.
Little
It was
surprise.
great. It was great this summer to be able to see him.
Yeah, it was
It
great.
was really good.
So Ron,
So he was.
so let me ask you a question, Ron.
Yes.
Where do you live now, and what have you been up to?
I am so after I left the Acres, years later, I ended up being at a Christian school. They asked me to be principal. I did that for 25 years.
Wow.
Devoted when I calculate how many years I was at camp, if you put in all the summers and everything, I did 6 years, 7 years of my life. If I said 7 years straight, it would be at camp.
Wow.
And then I did 25 years at the school. So I spent, over 30 years in ministry.
Sure.
Wow.
Some days I look and I say, I have no pension, I have no anything, but I'm invested in the lives of children my whole life. So,
Right.
the school changed leadership. So I ended up with no job, and I ended up going to Walmart. I was one of those crazy guys who check your receipt at the door. And I just moved up in 2 years, and now I'm one of the salary managers. I run the whole front end.
Wow.
I am the conflict resolution guy. I deal with all the problems.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's what
Your
I do.
problem
Let's
solver.
go to his Walmart and have a big fight.
Yeah, it happens. It happens almost daily. I mean, we do not have the best clientele at Walmart. So,
sure.
I oversee about 70 people.
Okay.
And I get all the
Wow.
customer complaints. But it is, I do thank God because I was very, I went through a bad divorce,
Mm.
and I was in a very low place, and God led me to a place where, I still get to share the gospel. And
Mm.
people know I just had a very bad day last week. I actually apologized to some staff members to say I wasn't the Christian example I should have been to you today.
Wow.
Wow.
So there's no fear in sharing. In the
Mhm.
last year and a half, my store manager has come to know the Christ.
Wow.
So he's growing in the Lord with his family. And
That's
people were afraid to say they're Christians.
Mm.
Now are not afraid to say.
I'm not afraid
So
of
they
it.
have somebody up here who's like, they're not afraid. God was gracious to
Right.
me. I was getting my hair cut, and the lady there was a Christian. We got talking, and now we're dating, and looking to get married, and very happy with that. So God
Oh,
is put me
wow.
there. Yeah. So God has just shown me that He's going to use me wherever He puts me if I'm willing.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's what I'm doing. My kids are. My last kid graduated. So if you don't know, I have 7 children.
Mhm.
And people say 7. I say, yeah, only 7. And then
That's right.
so my youngest just graduated. Took her to community college yesterday to register. So that's
Which one?
exciting. My oldest is 5 years in the Army.
Wow.
Love it. And all that, this is amazing. All of the camps that he saw. So we went to Sunshine Acres. He knew all about it. So then he's 2000, 2002. He's old enough to remember that. After that, we went to High Braes and ran their camp program for 3 years.
Oh,
Mm.
He did 6 years of camping.
okay.
He ended up doing an internship when he graduated for a year at a camp that we used to go through our school. He is high adventure. He's a paratrooper. He's high adventure. but the kid just,
Wow.
he's just a, that kind of atmosphere that he loves to be
That's
involved.
great.
For him.
So camp had a big influence on him and on my other kids. They love going up there. We like
Yeah.
to hike there, and I just told them we're looking to see what we can do to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charlie, tell us how many, I know we have a big retreat coming in August. Are all the
Right.
blankets and pillows, is all that? How much do we still need?
So we have enough blankets and pillows for this retreat. We don't have enough for every bed, but we don't need every bed. So we're
Okay.
good in that sense. We could get them if we want to, but we have other issues that we have to deal with.
Right.
We do we do have to get the pool open for that group. We have to get the screens fixed for that group. There's a couple of things that we're going to do at that work weekend. The
Right.
work weekend
Right.
is 2 weeks before the group. It's in a couple of weeks, but it's two
Say
weeks
that date
before that
again.
group. Yeah,
August 4.
yeah, exactly. I think the second or the first weekend of August.
Okay.
But from what you said too, getting that when we talked, you were mentioning cleaning the chapel and making
Yeah,
sure it
I want
smells
to
good.
shine. Murphy's
Yeah,
oil,
so
make it beautiful.
yeah, yeah, so when everybody left the last work weekend, I met that group that was potentially looking to. They were from Albany, Ron, just so you know.
Yeah,
There's a church called Awaken Church, and they reached out to us, they wanting to know if they could, have a
involved.
retreat. So
Okay.
no, just a retreat. But yeah, but we should look to get them involved too. But they have over 100 people that are coming for that weekend.
Awesome.
Super.
So that for
So
something.
you're gonna use the lodge and the cabins.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, for a group to find us where we haven't even advertised,
Right.
that was a miracle, and
Right.
so they walked around, they liked the place. And so by the way, what you were saying about the chapel, we
Mhm.
walked in the chapel, they're like, oh, could we use this? And I'm like, absolutely. But I was like, it smells a little. We gotta do
Musty.
something about that. Yeah, it was just a
Yeah.
little messy, but it looks
It's a
good though. It
beautiful
looks good.
chapel. The
Yeah, it
woodwork
looks
in
good. It
there
was
is beautiful.
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that and just spicy up the place here and there.
Yeah.
But one thing I was talking about with Mike Malstead was just so I've already talked to Lori about this privately, but
Right.
I mentioned to them, I said, listen, getting a full-time person up there is crucial. You can't expect you're working, you're driving your oil truck all day. You can't be running a camp while you're doing that. I can't either. I'm helping customers. We could barely even talk to each other during the day. Just about, little things here and there. We're busy. You need a full-time person up there to cultivate the business of the camp, getting
Absolutely.
groups.
Exactly.
And then in between the groups, you got to get the summer program going. But currently, we don't really have a place for them to live. I mean, the big house was crucial for that kind of atmosphere. I mean, you can't stick somebody in the lodge. It just they did make the very end of the lodge sort of like an apartment looking thing.
The
Um,
6 and 7.
Yeah.
yes, but yeah, but and that could work temporarily or maybe a program director in the summer or something, but you can't put somebody full time over the winter in there. It just doesn't seem right. So
Right.
my idea was, okay, yes, we probably would have to get a prefab building, whatever. It's a big undertaking, and I could see that down the line. But
Yeah.
maybe right now, somebody actually, it wasn't even my idea initially. It was John Hurdle's idea. He's the contractor that did the lodge. By the way, let me back up for a second. This guy, John Hurdle, Ron,
Yeah.
came, he was hired by, we found him through someone, and it turned out to be a big blessing. He
'Cause he
got it.
did the steps and the stuff. The deck.
Yes, he
The,
finished the lodge, did the deck. He did
they're
it for a
beautiful.
great price. he did stuff for free here and there. He would come
Wow.
up. He also fixed the one of the cabins, the log cabins had a rotted floor in the bathroom, and the tile was going down, and there was, turned out to be rotted wood underneath. He fixed that. He fixed all the screws. We had to unscrew all the screws in the cabin roof and
Wow.
reseal them.
Is
It's
that
like
illegal?
every
Yeah.
apparently every 20 years you got to do that on a metal roof to seal them, because there was getting condensation and this and that in the building. So we had to do that. He gave us a great price on that. Did it. Um,
That's
it's
awesome.
something we can't. Yeah, something we
Mhm.
can't do.
Right.
As volunteers. I mean, yeah, we're realistic, but anyway. So moving forward, he was like, why don't you fix these buildings? I'll give you a price to fix up one of these. Meaning like the old 4 and 5.
Right.
So, and then somebody says, well, why don't we have somebody who could just live there temporarily until we get something better later on. So we're looking into that. It could be like a couple who could live there. We could make like a little sort of like an apartment building, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Little cottage.
And yeah, maybe even put a porch or something. This way they could have a little bit more elbow room.
But you think about
screened-in
it, they have the
porch.
whole lodge to use too.
Exactly. I mean, they could use the kitchen, whatever, but we could have a little nook kind of kitchen in that
Yep.
room, and a stand-up shower, whatever, and just make it something nice where we could hire a couple, maybe somebody out of college, out of ministry, want to do something, and they could help us like get the camp off its feet again.
Right.
So that's my idea. It's a reachable goal. It's realistic for us, considering our situation right now. Yeah, so that's my idea. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
cost a lot of money to do that, and we could, get somebody in there at least to be there for the groups, call
Yeah.
up the churches, this, that, whatever. We could.
I got to tell you, we had a director at our camp who went to another camp, had to raise their own funds or
Mhm.
half their funds, and did it
Yes.
easily. They knew so
Yes.
many
Well,
people. They did it easily.
I thought of that too. I thought of that too, because I'm saying to myself, all right, the next step is we don't have any money, to really hire someone. I thought of the idea of working on commission for the first year or so to get to incentive to get groups up there, and we give them a percentage of the groups or whatever, and then this way it'll assure us that we have the money for them,
Mhm.
and
I
it'll
think
give them incentive to really call and get those weekends booked.
You had a situation where Dave was there with Ginny, who she was the cook.
right.
That
Right.
that worked out fabulously. I mean, if you don't realize the 3 seasons program before Dave Klonsmith got there was very slim. It was 5 or 6 groups. He grew that
Wow.
3 seasons program into, when I got there in '85, it was almost every weekend.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
had a
So
group, you
yeah.
know?
So I wanted to make sure that was the case, because I thought that was what I heard
Yeah.
about before Dave, how there was really not a lot of
You
groups.
did the big
Okay.
Memorial Day, the big Labor Day. You might have had something else around
Right.
Valentine's Day or something, but really, he just went out and got groups to come in.
Hmm.
So
And that's what
it's a lot
a
of
full-time person does. That's
the winter time was all youth groups.
It was all youth. Yeah.
You know?
right.
And the sledding hill.
Yep.
Right.
So
Right.
you-
Right.
big
got
idea. You
the
gotta go. You gotta
snowmobile.
go for that. You gotta find the right person to step in.
Right.
You could find
Right.
somebody who's new to ministry, or you could find somebody who's ready to say, I want to give 5 years to some place.
Right.
I'm retired now and I can give 5 years and help out, still able to do stuff.
Right.
It's a great idea. You're
Right.
gonna have somebody at the
Right.
place, because you
Yes.
see what's happened since you haven't anybody. It deteriorates.
That's right. So
And if you,
I mentioned that too. It's no secret. I've mentioned that. I said, if you look at the last 15 years or so, 20 years, there's a steady decline in involvement. And that doesn't necessarily only pertain to the groups. It's pertaining to
the summer,
churches,
yeah, Yeah.
the summer
Yeah.
program, absolutely. So
It
it's
sounds like
the
you have
whole
a board
package.
now. You have a board now that's ready to go.
Yes. So it's a better situation. People are more excited, and they're willing to work and willing to hear different ideas. So
Good.
I'm
Good. That's
excited.
good.
I'm happy. Yes.
Good. Well, you two are both
Yeah.
special.
Aw.
Camp is special. I'm there. I'll
Yeah.
do what I can. I'm working
Yeah.
50 to 60 hours a week. Hard to get away, but
Mhm.
but you let me know when those days come, and we'll see what we
Yes.
can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And remember,
Well, if you're
I'm 20 minutes
yeah.
away. You get an emergency, it's a
Okay.
phone call,
Okay.
So
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't know. Do you know the
oh,
guy Manny that comes around?
maybe. What
Okay.
does he do?
I don't know what church he's from, but he's been another guy that's been a blessing. He's a Christian. I don't know where they found him, but he's been doing the lawn for
Yeah, I
free.
know who he is.
Okay, so you know who he is.
Yeah,
And we call him, he comes there, he does this, that. He
that's
doesn't
super.
want any money. We're asking
Yeah,
him, please, like, don't, he's
Mm,
just been a blessing. He's been great,
that's super.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah, but still, like, there's nobody there. It's a dangerous
yeah.
situation. We could have squatters. We could have so many different
Yep.
oh yeah.
scenarios that could happen, or we could have another flood and no one's there to know it.
Right, right.
So it really needs cultivating, and it
You
really
know,
needs
one
somebody to do
time
that.
when I was back in my old church, Maggie Leverage, which you guys know as Maggie Antel,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
was
Yeah.
on my church, and she said, "Ron," she called me up and said, "I don't know what to do. We're taking a walk on my dad's property, and we walked over, and there's water coming out of the back of the gym. Somebody had left water running or something. Nobody there.
Wow.
So I drove up and turned the water off. It's things like
Wow.
that you're saying when there's
It's
nobody
things
there.
like that.
You
That's
know,
Yeah.
right.
it
That's
could have
right.
been another disaster, but she was there like the day after the retreat, and I shut the water off.
Wow.
It could have been a disaster. So you're right.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
somebody in
No,
the property.
it's
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so just so you know, Ron, I don't know if you just heard it or whatever. We have a work weekend on the 1st of August, or
August.
the first weekend of August. So if you want to just
I'm
zip by and say
checking my
hello to
calendar now.
whoever.
I'm checking my calendar now.
Yeah,
Looks
and
like
then we'll have another one in September. We'll have another one in
you're
October.
gonna be there
We'll
for
try
a
to have
few
one.
days, like that. That's a Thursday, August 1st, right?
Well, no, it'll be Friday night,
Okay.
Saturday,
Okay, good.
mostly. And then if there's anyone else that wants to stay Sunday, I'll stay, Sunday and work as well. But we'll see. Last time
All
everyone
right.
kind of just left. But we'll
Right.
definitely get a full Saturday
Maybe
in for sure.
maybe I'll put in for that Saturday off so I can spend the day with you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
When's your group come up? When's that big group in August?
The 18th or
Okay.
16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to get ready for them,
Unfortunately,
right?
yeah. So we're getting ready for them.
All right. I have kids in the area. We'd love to go up and check on that pool every day. If you get
Do a
that
little
right.
skimming.
Yeah,
Do a
I'm
little
sure.
skimming, and then
I'm
be
sure
like,
they'll do that
"Oh, I
yourself,
fell in.
yeah. So you let me
I was
know.
skimming, and I reached too far in, and I fell."
I mean, you got to check on a pool a lot once you open
You
it.
do.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I was telling Lori a quick story. I was telling Lori last week. Um, I was up in New Paltz. I was doing the ride for mental health. They have like a 50-mile ride up, up
Yeah, I
to
mean,
the
watch
Mohawk
that.
Mountain. I was
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good ride. I've done it a couple of times with some friends. And across the street is the town pool. Where it ends in New Paltz there, that town
Yeah, no,
pool there.
Libertyville Road. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know it.
exactly. So it was burning hot. We just climbed the mountain and we came down with it's 100 degrees. I have nowhere to go to like cool off. I'm like, there's a pool across the street. Oh my gosh, $10. We went in the pool, we took a shower. But anyway, so I was in the pool and that was the first time I think I was in a town pool in
Wow.
years. Like I haven't been in some sort of like public pool like that where there's like a million people or whatever. And it reminded me of camp. I'm like, right now it's burning hot and our camp pool is covered. and there's
Mm,
nobody there.
Yeah, that's
And we have
sad.
this beautiful pool that's probably would have cost us
Yeah.
today $70,000 or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and it's sitting there with no cover. I mean, with a cover on it, and it's just
Right.
like we got to get
And
this. We got to get this camp going.
Yeah,
You know,
even
it
if
just
you did a day camp for kids in the area,
yep.
you could
Yep.
you
Right.
could do something like that. You know, one of my favorite memories is in
Right.
the pool. It was a summer I taught lifeguarding, so I had Martha, Eric, Willie. I had all these people who
Mhm.
took lifeguarding, so that in the future, in the summers, we always had a lifeguard.
Right.
That's
So
right.
they all take this class, and then we have the water carnival. I don't know if you remember Wilfredo Arredondo, tall kid, right? And we had that thing of the longest swim on one breath.
Yeah, he would
Mhm.
go there and back.
Yeah, and Peter Sohn, you remember Peter Sohn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went there and back, and Wilfredo was next. And I said, "Listen, we can't lose this. You go there and back. You do not get up till you turn around." Well, that kid got close to the wall. He was slowing down. He hit the wall. He turned around, and his arms just went down. He was out cold.
He passed out. He passed
He
out.
passed out. I jump in. Then all of a sudden, my lifeguards jump in. We get him to the side turn. He's blue as could be.
Oh my gosh.
That's
So I get
right.
him up. I'm about to give him mouth to mouth, and he spits out water. And he says, "What happened?" I said, "You won."
You did it.
But that was, that was a scary
Yes.
moment. That kid
Yeah.
passed
Wow.
out. He was going to drown. But you know what? He didn't give up. So we can't give up.
I remember that.
Exactly.
I
You
remember
We can't
that.
can't
give
give
up.
up.
You know, we're at the end, but we can't give up. We'll get this to happen. We'll get it.
Yeah.
So
So I
Did
I
you-
have
Alright, guys.
some I have some interest in the I have some more interest this group this weekend
Good.
this work weekend coming up than I did last time. So I'm
Good.
expecting a
Good.
good amount of people. So that's good. More and more every
right.
time, you know.
All right.
Alright, well,
I'll take a day off. I'll be there.
Cool.
Okay. All right, Charlie. All right. All right. I'm signing off.
All right, so
Someone
yeah,
has to
so
close in
signing
prayer
off.
first.
All right, Laura.
Wait, no.
Ron, thank
Someone
you
has
so
to close
much.
in prayer.
All right.
All right,
Ooh,
Ron, will you close in prayer
I'll
for
close
us,
in
please?
prayer.
thank
Father
you.
God,
Thank
Lord, we do thank you. We thank you for this time. We do thank you for this camp. Lord, we thank you what it's meant to all of us in our lives, Lord, and how it's connected all of us, Lord. I thank you. I have people I could call up and know they would be there for me, even though I haven't seen them in years.
Mm,
We ask your blessing upon it. We pray, Lord, that you would bring it back up from the ashes and make it a place again where kids can hear the gospel and come to know Jesus as their Savior. Lord, we ask a blessing upon this work
Yes.
weekend. May lots of people come and we can get this place in shape. Thank you for this time together. In Jesus' name, amen.
mm, Amen.
Amen. All right, guys.
Amen.
Have a good
Guys,
night.
You too.
All right.
Good
Good
night.
night.
All right.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. That was awesome, right?
Hey, where are you?
I'm right here.
I can't see you. Wait,
I'm
hold
here.
on. Well, you're gone, but I can still hear
All right.
you.
Well. All right. Well.
That was
I
perfect.
just want
That was good.
Yeah, that was perfect. So, all right. So let's. Yeah, we'll keep in touch still about
Okay.
the weekend, and we'll. We'll. I'll get more and more. A list of people that are definitely coming,
Yeah.
and then I'll have I'll have things for them to do, and all the things that I need for it. I'm gonna
Now,
need
do you want to reach out to Bruce and I'll reach out to Suzanne Davis again?
Yes. Yes. I actually text Bruce, I want to talk to him personally too. About he came to the last meeting and everything, and I never
Oh,
reached out to him yet. So
okay.
yeah. But
I
yeah,
hope he came to
definitely want him involved,
Yeah.
want to
he's-
definitely get him
yeah.
involved.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes me really happy.
All right. So I'll reach out to him too as well. All right.
Okay, perfect.
All
All right,
right.
Charlie, you have a good
Have a good
birthday.
night.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. All right.